shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Two things you need to know about this morning. We have a heat advisory for most of the viewing area and a risk of severe storms later on this afternoon. I'll walk you through what to expect.
A man is in the hospital this morning after shooting in Durham, the expansive crime scene as police work to find the person responsible.
And today we can learn more about plans for a huge expansion at PNC Arena. Coming up, what sports fans can expect to see.
Team USA is working to stay on top of the Olympic medal leaderboard today. Simone Biles and the U.S. women's gymnastics team are going to try to add a few more golds as they compete in the all-around finals. Plus, a look at Katie Ledecky's history-making race in the 1,500-meter women's freestyle and all the other major events going on that you won't want to miss today. What a race that was. I mean, it wasn't much of a race, really.
She was way ahead. She was smoked everybody.
She said her mind even wandered while she was swimming. It is great that we'll recap it for you and bring you the rest of the day in news you need to know. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Great to have you with us on this Thursday morning. Elizabeth was commenting that I look like cantaloupe, honeydew, and then let's get to Elizabeth. She's blueberry today. We're all fruits are covered today.
Yeah. Now we could actually get some of that in here for breakfast. That would be a real thing.
Yeah. There you go.
It's nice and quiet out there this morning. We take a live look at downtown Raleigh. It is warm and sticky, 76 degrees with a dew point of 72. So an uncomfortable feel as you're headed out the door this morning. Two things that you need to know about. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms for this afternoon. That's also true for tomorrow and Saturday. So each afternoon, we're going to have a better chance for some storms. It's going to be a 20 to 30% chance early to mid-afternoon. And then later on in the evening, that potential will go up. We're going to walk through that timeline for you on Futurecast coming up. We also have a heat advisory starting at 11 o'clock. It's most of our counties, just a couple of the northern counties not included, but feeling like 105 to 110. And of course, you can see in the triangle, feeling like 107 between 3 and 4 o'clock. It's just going to be another one of those dangerously hot afternoons. Hour by hour, we do climb to 98. That puts us close to, but not quite to a record high. And we continue to watch the tropics. Some big updates in the last 12 hours or so. The potential for this is beginning to shift closer to the Gulf of Mexico and a little farther away from the coast of North Carolina. So we're going to walk through that. I'll show you. This is where the probability of a tropical depression now is. And notice how it moves up through the Gulf of Mexico. It doesn't mean that we won't see any impacts, but we'll talk about what some of the scenarios could be coming up.
Police in Durham are working to make an arrest after a shooting. Officers responded to South Mangum Street just after 9 last night. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows officers investigating there. Police say a man was shot and taken to the hospital with injuries that are not considered life-threatening.
Big changes are coming to PNC Arena in Raleigh. Today, we expect an update on the project. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at PNC Arena. And Kelsey, this comes just a day after the new CEO of the Canes talked about his interest in bringing a Major League Baseball team to Raleigh.
Renee, it does, and we're expecting to learn more about plans for a $300 million renovation project. Plans for the arena here would go far beyond hockey. Now, what you're looking at on your screen right now could look totally different in a few years. The owner of the Carolina Hurricanes has plans to develop up to 80 acres around the arena. Fans can expect a music venue and a sports book on the property, but these plans won't include a baseball stadium. Back in February, ESPN named Raleigh as a potential host city for a new MLB team.
I have not communicated directly with MLB about anything yet. We're in really early stages, and I think we're probably at really the information gathering stage from our standpoint here of what do you need to have in place before you can even talk to Major League Baseball.
That was just Brian Forks with Carolina Holdings there. He says they would consider building a baseball stadium in another area, but for now, the arena expansion project could start as early as next summer. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Today, former President Donald Trump's controversial statements at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention are drawing more criticism. During his Q&A at the convention, Trump criticized the moderator and questioned Kamala Harris's race, saying she happened to turn black. He also emphasized his beliefs on the border and said migrants are taking over what he called black jobs. He clarified that as anybody that has a job. Kamala Harris responded to Trump's comments at an event last night in Houston.
And it was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better.
In a post to Truth Social immediately after the panel, Trump called the questions he faced rude and nasty, but said he crushed it. White House fired back at Trump's comment about Harris's race. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre addressed it in her press briefing.
What he just said, what you just read out to me, is repulsive, it's insulting, and, you know, no one has any right to tell someone who they are, how they identify.
Harris is both black and Indian. Her mother's from India and her father's from Jamaica. Harris also graduated from Howard University, a historically black college.
Covering Wake County now, students at one elementary school in Wendell are home today because of problems with the air conditioning in their classrooms. Lake Myra Elementary School dismissed students early yesterday because of the problem. The school just had its first day of class on Monday. Andrea Burnham, a mother of two girls at the school, says the school has not handled the situation well.
We knew that the air was out when we went to meet the teacher the week later in last week. To me, I feel like this is an issue that could have been addressed and fixed earlier. It didn't even have to happen.
Wake County Schools sent a message to parents saying, "We understand it's been a challenging time, and we want to assure you every effort is being made to repair the system."
Today's a big day for Simone Biles and the U.S. women's gymnastics team. They will be trying to increase their medal count in the all-around finals. That is one of the many big events we'll have for you live today on WRAL. Our coverage gets started at 9 this morning with men's beach volleyball. Preliminary heats of swimming competitions start at 10. At 11:30, the U.S. plays Australia in women's 3-on-3 basketball. The all-around finals of women's gymnastics starts at 12:15. And at 2:30, the finals of several swimming events begin. Women's beach volleyball starts at 4:20 this afternoon. You can catch the replays on prime time in Paris. That starts at 8 tonight. How about Katie Ledecky? A lot to celebrate today. The swimmer secured her 12th career medal after dominating the 1,500-meter freestyle race. She broke her own Olympic record in that. This is Ledecky's 8th gold medal. She is now tied for the most medals and golds of any American female athlete. She has an opportunity to get another today as she will compete in the women's 200 freestyle relay today, 4 o'clock this afternoon.
The U.S. men are headed to the basketball quarterfinals after a huge win against South Sudan. 3 players on Team USA have North Carolina ties, including Bam Adebayo, who led the U.S. with 18 points. Team USA won 103-86. The men's quarterfinals will happen next Tuesday, August 6th. All right, let's take a look at where the medal count stands this morning. Team USA holding on to the lead. 30 medals there, and we have 5 gold, 13 silver, and 12 bronze. Host country France not far behind with 26 medals, including 8 gold, and China has the most gold medals. They have 9 in total. They have 19 in the competition. We have a viewing guide on WRAL.com where you can follow your favorite sports and athletes. Find the complete schedule day by day, what's on each channel and streaming on WRAL.com. Search Olympic schedule.
Thousands have gathered in Iran's capital this morning for a funeral service held for Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh. Iran's supreme leader, who vowed to avenge Haniyeh's death, led prayers at the service. The Hamas leader was killed in a missile strike on a building in Tehran just hours after meeting Iran's supreme leader, and that's according to state media there. During an address last night, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu refused to say if his country was responsible for the strike in Iran. He warned that Israel will exact a very heavy price for any aggression against them.
A group of pro-Palestinian protesters gathered in front of NC State's campus calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Here's the group at the intersection of Western Boulevard and Avon Ferry. They held up Palestinian flags and signs showing wounded Palestinians. Many drivers honked horns in support while the group chanted, "Gaza will be free and free Palestine."
UNC Search Committee reconvenes today for the second day of a special meeting in its hunt for a new chancellor. Members of the committee are tasked with identifying finalists for the position. The Board of Governors and System President Peter Hans will make the final determination. The goal is to name the new chancellor by the end of the year. This morning's meeting gets started at 8 a.m.
New details about a cockfighting ring that authorities recently broke up in Granville County. 15 people were arrested on Saturday when authorities broke up a cockfighting operation on Lawrence Road. Sheriff Robert Fountain says federal investigators are now involved as this ring may have ties to a sprawling network. He also revealed a doctor was at the fights to stitch up the roosters and inject them with adrenaline.
We're approaching the one-year anniversary of the deadly wildfire in the Hawaiian town of Lahaina. A look at the recovery efforts as victims still wait for money from a lawsuit settlement.
Top Chef alum Shirley Chung is speaking out about her stage 4 cancer diagnosis, what she's revealing about how the cancer was discovered and the treatment she's undergoing.
And this is a live look in Lewisburg. Good morning to you this morning. A humid morning just about everywhere around us, and the heat will move in by this afternoon. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has the hourly forecast for us next.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:44, and we start off this morning with a level 1 risk for severe storms. Damaging winds would be our biggest threat. These will start likely right after lunchtime and continue until around sunset or so. And not everybody will see those, even though we do have a very large coverage of that level 1 risk. It's going to be those pop-up thunderstorms. Starting at 11 o'clock, we're under a heat advisory for most of the viewing area. It'll feel like well up to, say, 107, 109 this afternoon. We take a live look at Apex this morning, and all's quiet out there right now. We'll see those storms developing later on. It's pretty sticky and warm out there. It's 81 in Goldsboro currently, 74 in Tarbo, 76 degrees in Fayetteville. And of course, walking the dog this morning, it'll be fairly uncomfortable but dangerously hot by later this afternoon.
Elizabeth, thanks. At least one person is dead in a quickly spreading wildfire in Colorado. The remains of a person were found inside a home in the path of the Stone Canyon fire. It's one of 3 wildfires burning in the Denver area. It's burned about 1,500 acres and destroyed at least 5 homes.
The governor of Hawaii says a $4 billion settlement could come next week for the 2023 Maui wildfire. That's according to the Associated Press. The historic fire killed over 100 people, 102 to be exact, and wiped out Lahaina. In the year since, more than 600 lawsuits have been filed over the deaths and destruction caused by the fires. The claims are all against the state, Maui County, and utilities. Maui County didn't immediately respond to an email asking for comment.
United and Delta Airlines have both canceled flights to Israel. Delta says it's canceled flights there through Friday because of conflict in the region. United also canceled its daily flight to Tel Aviv, but did not offer a timeline on when it might resume. Both airlines say they are monitoring the situation in Israel closely.
The Secret Service detained a man for vandalizing 2 protective detail vehicles assigned to Vice President Harris's stepdaughter. According to a spokesman, the suspect vandalized the rear license plate area on the Secret Service cars assigned for Ella Emhoff. The cars were parked in Lower Manhattan. Officials say Emhoff was never in any danger during the incident.
If you have the summer sniffles, it may be signs of COVID. New numbers from the state health department data shows COVID cases have risen for 6 straight weeks. 500 people are now hospitalized for COVID, up 40% over this time last month. Wastewater data also shows a massive increase in COVID particles, with nearly 57 million gene particles detected. That's up from 20 million a month ago. Meanwhile, RSV and flu cases remain low.
One of YouTube's biggest content creators, Mr. Beast, faces accusations of past racist comments. North Carolina-based creator acknowledged using inappropriate language in his early online days. A spokesperson for the YouTuber said, quote, "When Jimmy was a teenager, he acted like many kids and used inappropriate language while trying to be funny." Adding that as an adult, he is focused on making a positive impact around the world.
Sad news out of the culinary world. An alum of the show Top Chef says she has stage 4 tongue cancer. Shirley Chung shared photos to Instagram sharing the news. The 47-year-old was diagnosed in December after having a series of dental issues. She says she was faced with the option to remove her tongue or do chemotherapy. Chung chose treatment and says she's already completed 6 weeks of chemo. At the end of her post, Chung wrote, "Cheer me on, Shirley Chung 2.0 will be reborn in 2025. The chef has received an outpouring of love and support from the food world.
The Department of Health and Human Services will host a fireside chat tonight discussing Medicaid expansion and the health of North Carolina's American Indian communities. Panelists will discuss who is newly eligible for Medicaid under expansion, as well as who and what are covered by the health insurance program. Viewers can also submit questions related, and tonight's discussion begins 6 p.m. It'll be live streamed on the department's social media accounts. 4:48, the time right now as we get our Thursday started, August 1st. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We're already at 80 in some parts of our viewing area. Wow.
Yeah, this is a pretty typical August 1st for us, but we do have a heat advisory, which of course puts us above what we average out for this time of year in terms of heat. We also have the potential for some scattered storms that could be strong to severe later on today. 76 heading out the door right now, just a light wind out of the southwest at 3 miles per hour. We're looking at temperatures close to 90 by lunchtime, and of course it'll feel hotter than that, but it's clear and quiet, at least for us this morning. We have the top of the tower lit in blue for the clear skies. Look at this beautiful sunset in Clayton. Tommy Minter sent us this weather watcher photo, looking very serene and beautiful and looking like it's cooling off a little bit. As a matter of fact, I did make it down briefly to a live after 5 yesterday, and surprisingly there on the plaza in downtown Raleigh, it was okay. I mean, it was not cool, but it wasn't as horrible as I thought it might be. Go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers, and send us some of your photos. We'd love to see what's happening in your backyard. Today's going to be hotter. We're looking at a heat advisory that kicks in at 11 a.m. It's going to feel like the triple digits for us across most of the viewing area. Official temperature, 96 in Raleigh, 95 Durham, 97 in Fayetteville, and we will have that chance of some scattered storms. It'll feel like 107 in Durham and Raleigh, 109 in Goldsboro, 110 in Fayetteville, 106 South Hill, 105 and Rocky Mount. So that will be a few degrees hotter than the way it felt yesterday. We take a look at our upcoming heat risk. It is definitely in the major zone for today. We have a heat advisory. It is likely that we'll see another heat advisory for tomorrow. It could feel as hot as 110. Saturday, it backs off a little bit. We're still talking about triple digit heat indices, but looking at 107 this afternoon, 110 for tomorrow in the triangle, and then back to 103, 102, and 101 Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'm still really hot, but that would take us out of the heat advisory criteria. Of course, we're also looking at very hot conditions in terms of the actual high, 96 for today, but the record is 104, 95 Friday, the record is 101, so we're not quite at record highs. We have the potential for some severe storms this afternoon, damaging winds, heavy rain is likely what we'll see. We do have some severe storms that are happening across parts of the Midwest. That starts to drop in over our area later on this afternoon. We have this lingering boundary that you can see there, and that will help to be a focus for some of those storms. Around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we begin to see those developing, and those are out of here by around 7 or 8 o'clock. So that could be affecting the evening commute. We'll see the same thing again for Friday and Saturday. Both of those days have a level 1 risk. We'll walk you through that. And of course, we'll take a look at the tropics and some of the changes in potentially the path of that system that could develop later this week.
Thanks, Elizabeth. The largest wildfire in the country is far from being contained. There is hope emerging from the rubble left behind. The reunion between a woman and her dogs after she was forced to evacuate her home.
And a baseball fan makes an incredible catch when a foul ball flies overhead. We'll show you the replay from the reaction from the crowd around him.